Coming up on this episode of Design to the Nines, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how to go about mixing and matching fabrics like a designer, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Natalie with DesignToTheNines.com, and I am so glad you could join me today because I want to share with you 5 tips that I have on helping you to mix and match fabrics like a pro so you can get a designer look in your home. I get asked it a lot. How do you go about picking and choosing your fabrics and then make them all tie together and work? Well, I have 5 tips that I'm going to share with you that will help you mix and match like a pro. And so we're going to start with the first one. The first one is you need an inspiration piece, an inspiration pillow or fabric, or somewhere that you have a jumping off point. And usually you want it to have all the colors that you want to incorporate in your room. So in my case, in this living room, this was my inspiration fabric right there. So we bought this home furnished. It was a vacation rental before, and it was very basic. It was like somebody went to a showroom and just bought, you know, a whole set of stuff. And there's some great pieces that have great lines and that I'm working with, but it needs a designer touch. And so one of the first things I wanted to do was switch out the pillows, add some drapery, and give it more of a designer look. And in order to do that, I had some existing blue chairs that I needed to incorporate. Now we had the sofas here, you can see is kind of like a nice natural linen color. So that's kind of a neutral, and it wasn't really a huge issue, but the blue chairs I didn't want to replace at first, and so I needed to kind of work around them. So I found this inspiration fabric, and it has some of the blues that I was worried about, and then it also gave me my color palette, which is navy blues, greens, and then a nice neutral cream that kind of matched the linen color. So this was my jumping off point. All right, tip number 2, you want to pick at least 2 main colors and then a neutral. So in my case, my 2 main colors are navy blue and green. My neutral is this kind of linen cream colored that's on the sofa. It's kind of in some of my other pillows. I have a third color that I'm kind of using, which is that blue from the chairs again. But it all works together. So you want at least 2 primary colors to kind of really have, you know, some variety to work with and give you a lot of options. The cream is the neutral, but you could use white, you could use a light gray, can act as a neutral, and even in some cases I've used green as a neutral. It can work in certain applications, and then it also can work as a primary color. The third tip also employs the number 3 because you want to use at least 3 patterns when figuring out your palette. And what I usually try to do in selecting those is you've got your main inspiration piece, and then I've got one pattern that's in one of the main colors, another pattern that's in the other, and kind of using those to bring in the color scheme all together, and the size is a factor in it. So you've got something that's kind of big and bold and busy, then you've got something that's a little bit more simple, like in this one it's the stripes, and then we've got something geometric. So I usually like to go with something big and bold, something medium-sized and geometric, and then something a little bit smaller and simplistic, and then you can add to that. Okay, tip number 4 is using different types of fabrics. So you don't want to use all cotton, and you don't want to use all chenille. You want to use a variety of textures when picking your fabric choices. So for example, in another room, I have this, and this is my inspiration pillow, but it's in a velvet. So this is our inspiration piece. It has all the colors that I want to use. And then this is more of like a wool finish. It also employs the medium-sized geometric. It goes in with that. But this has definitely a different texture, and so that adds. And then we've got heavy texture. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. But this also employs the color scheme in there and adding texture. It's, you know, very rough while still being soft somehow, but it's got a lot of texture to it. It's got my smaller geometric pattern, and that all works in there. Texture adds so much when you're going for the designer look. My fifth and final tip is be brave, be bold, and choose fabrics that you love, because ultimately it's your home, it's your space, and you want to feel comfortable in it. As a few little side notes and tips and tricks, to get more of a designer look, designers tend to like to use down pillows. They just sit nicer, you can knife them and these look beautiful. And for me, I personally like just the piped edge, and this might make a good tutorial showing you how to make a throw pillow with the piped edge, so watch for that in the future. But there are, to get a designer look, you can use all kinds of trims. There's beautiful trims out there. If you like that look, definitely go for it. That really adds a nice custom effect. And if you're still not sure, go into like a Joann's. They have a special order fabric section. You can go and mix and match the fabrics and kind of get a feel for it. And the more you do it, the more practice you're gonna get, the braver and more bold you'll be, and the more you'll get good at it. So I thought we would go on a little field trip to Joann Fabrics and play with some fabrics. So we are almost there, and I'm excited to show you kind of how I'd go about it. Most fabric stores have done you a solid here by putting like fabrics and coordinating fabrics together, making it extra easy for you, so you can take that into consideration. Okay, so this is the section I was talking about with all of the custom fabrics. We can have a lot of fun here, so let's get going. So I could spend hours and hours here. This is like my favorite place besides like the home improvement stores. So, but I came up with a different palette while I was here. Just thought I would show you how it's done. So I started out with that fabric. I love it. And then I paired it with this one, which has a texture to it, but it's a solid color. Thought it would add some pattern relief while still adding some texture. And then we've got this fun geometric one in a complementing green color that works with the original inspiration one. And then I found this fun ikat turquoise that would match and work with it. So what do you think? So cute, right? You have got this. You can do it. I know you can. So I really hope that you learned something today. If you did, if you hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. And make sure you subscribe to this channel for more tutorials that are going to be coming in the future. If you can check out all of my social media and follow us there, there's always things that I'm adding and doing. And check out my website, designforthenines.com, for other tutorials and past projects. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.